All right, boys and girls, welcome back. Sam's Army, episode 2.265. We got a lot to talk about this week, and I'm excited to talk about it. We're going to limit ourselves to three things this week. We're going to keep it short and neat. First, we're going to hit some housekeeping discussion. Second, U.S. men's national team coming off the Colombia and Brazil games, and sort of where we set up for Copa America coming up next week. And then third, last but never least, the Euro 2024 preview and predictions, with the tournament getting underway this week on Friday. Okay, so that's what we got coming up. Before we get to all of that, and also discuss a little bit about why you haven't heard from us in a couple weeks, let me welcome in a couple of beautiful beauties that are here with me this week. First up, we got Mr. Mitchell Goulet, aka Overtime Mitch, fresh off TST 2024 in North Carolina. So, Mitch, give us your most memorable or enjoyable moment from the tournament this year.
Ooh, it was fun. Like there was a jam-packed tournament. Dapping up Chris Paul and him saying that he is familiar with my work was pretty cool. That was a highlight, you know?
Giving you
Um,
snaps. We're giving you
yeah, I
snaps.
appreciate it. That was a cool one. He was very familiar not only with Overtime as the company, which would make sense, but he was familiar particularly with Overtime FC. And that was just like a real feel good at the beginning of the week. So, but really like tons and tons of highlights from the tournament. Really fun event.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Even for Sneaky Fox, even though we left a little earlier than we wanted to, it wasn't the tournament that we were hoping for, but still an incredible experience. Just so much fun. This sort of mix of nostalgia with, like real competition, and Bayern Munich and Bruce Dortmund and Kun Aguero and these guys being there. It's just a real incredibly unique experience. And of course, I get to be there, sort of embedded with all these MLS and indoor stars. It's just a real incredible experience. Now, Tyler Terrence is up next. He's got a look of jealousy or something, enviousness in his eye after Mitchell Goulet was talking about him and Chris Paul being boys, essentially.
So fucking cool.
But we're gonna cross off a couple we're gonna hit a couple birds with one stone here. Weekly what if time. We're gonna do weekly what if. We're gonna do it with you specifically. So if you can only pick one, would you prefer the US to win Copa America or Liverpool to win the 2024-25 Premier League?
Whoa.
That's a brutal question.
That's so terrible of you. Why are you only asking me that? Why have you never asked that to anybody else before?
My answer, well, listen, I can answer this so quickly because I'm a straight country over club. Yes, I'm a country over club.
But it's Copa America. Like, I don't know how much street cred we get from winning that. I think we'd get more. I think like if this was a World Cup, I think the
With
actually
Brazil, with Argentina, with Uruguay. I mean, this is a
no, I
legitimate
understand. No, no,
tournament.
no, no. I get it. Like, obviously, it's a lot of street cred, but like, it's not the World Cup. Whereas, like,
True.
Liverpool, the Premier League is their World Cup, Champions League, whatever. Like, it's the most important thing on our list at the moment, I think.
True, but you're only a few years off of having won it. So it's not
I
like it's
know.
something that you've never experienced.
Boy, it feels like a long time ago, though. You know something? It is the US. After further deliberation, it is the US.
Good answer. I
Yeah.
agree. I'm with you. I know that I actually don't know what Mitch would say. I don't know what Tommy would say either. I do know what Mikey would say. He's a straight club over country guy.
Yeah.
He's always been that
That
way.
sounds right.
Freaking commie. All right. We will move on to I use that term very generally. So we're going to move on to the three things. The first of the three. We haven't done a podcast in a couple weeks, and I got a lot of messages on Instagram and on Twitter, and I'm sorry if I didn't get back to everybody. I figured we'd sort of touch on it in one fell swoop in this way. Long story short, we needed a breather. Changes are coming, and I think they're all going to be sort of good news for our longtime audience and loyal listeners. So I'm just going to try and keep this short from my end. I could go off on all sorts of different tangents, But long and the short, I'm guilty, I feel like, of just for too long going with the flow and not really turning Sam's Army into what it should be, which is, what I've been quietly dedicating my life towards for like the better part of the last decade. And that's to make Sam's Army the best, MFing podcast, American soccer podcast, out there. Okay. And I feel like I've been sort of, I don't know, I haven't been focused on that. And we need to get to that. And so basically what the changes we're going to be implementing here mean more content, better content, perhaps some slightly different content. I just will keep it that simple for now, because sort of we have a bunch of plans we're going to put in place here. But, I just wanted to say quickly that I honestly, truly cherish everybody who's listening or watching this. Like, I could not thank you guys more for sticking with us over the years at this point. And I really just want to make this podcast better and the best. And I think it's time to concentrate on that and do what needs to be done to make that happen. So just a real quick favor for everybody who's listening, just number one, go tell your friends, go tell a friend, right? Tell a friend to get on board, spread the gospel of Sam's Army. We want to take this thing to the moon, to take a phrase from Sneaky Fox from this past week. Now, as I said, you're going to notice some changes going forward. We'll get into those in the coming weeks and everything. But for now, I'm just excited. I felt like I kind of lost my way a little bit over the last however many months. We had a come to Jesus discussion among the the podcast crew here, and like for the first time in a while, I am done stressing quite so much. I was having like, I don't stress about anything in this world. I was stressing my little balls off about what exactly was going on here. But I talked to Tyler, I talked to Mitchell, talked to Mikey, talked to Tommy. We're all on the same page. We want this to become the best podcast out there. So I'm just trying to keep that short. Mitch, Tyler, we'll start with you, Mitch. Any thoughts to add here?
I want to echo what Sam said, that we really do appreciate you guys. Like, you have your time is valuable, and you choose to listen to us yap about the beautiful game, and that really means a lot. And then the handful of instances where that's spilled over into the real world, and like I've met people that listen to the podcast, it is such a cool feeling. And we really do appreciate you guys. I personally am going to be responsible for overhauling Sam Army social. Not all of it, just kidding. Sam's going to keep his voice on social, but we're going to make some changes there. You're going to see some new content, like Sam said. We're going to hopefully be clipping some of these podcasts and putting it out in a little more social friendly manner. And yeah, we're just gonna. I'll let Tyler use the phrase, but we're gonna take it up a notch.
Exactly. I'll leave it at that. Tyler, anything to add on your end?
Yeah, I mean, it's time to go from the academy to the first team with this thing. That and I like could not be more excited about it, because if there's one thing that I've learned in this industry, and Mitch, I'm sure you can relate, and it's in any walk of life, and Sam, you can relate. Like, when you have autonomy over something and you have start something from the ground up like Sam did and built it into what it is, and we have the opportunity to potentially grow it into something that like we can really hang our hats on, and maybe even make some money one day on, like, that's really exciting, and it's really cool. And the fact that you guys all buy into it already for what it is. And to call a spade, this has not been a full-throated production using 100% of our talents up until this point. And I think we can all be honest with that. I'm not going to, be a coach in a press conference and be like, oh, like, just trust the process. Like, eventually it's going to come good. No, like, this hasn't been all of our best. It's been a hobby, and it's been something that we all enjoy doing. But now it's going to look better, feel better, and be something that you guys deserve, even though you've already subscribed. But like Sam said, like, pedal to the metal with this thing, and tell a friend, and let's get it popping, baby. Like this is the summer of Sam. It's the summer of Sam, baby. Copa America, Euros, and like we've got you covered. And I knew you weren't gonna say it, Sam, because it does sound a little P. Diddy-ish, but it is the summer of Sam.
You did it. That's terrible. That's fair. I mean, listen, I could not be more excited. As I said, I was stressing out for a while. You guys are on board. Hopefully, the people who are listening and watching are on board. I'm really excited about where we're gonna go with this. We have the tools and the relationships and everything to get there. I feel as though, yeah, I started it, but I've also been kind of standing in the way of it. And so hopefully we can kind of all get on the same page and really push this thing forward. So we'll leave it at that for now. I'm sure Mikey could add something. I'm sure Tommy could add something. But as we've talked about off the pod, like these guys, like Tyler talks about soccer for his life or for his living. Mitch, basically does socials about soccer for his living. Tommy is a professional soccer player and Mikey is a professional podcaster slash, whatever, director, producer, et cetera, podcast specialist. So we have, and then I'm just, the douche who started this.
It's really diabolical when you phrase it and you put it like that and you list everybody's professions off, and the fact that it's taken us this long to actually take it seriously, like it honestly, it's really embarrassing almost. Like,
yeah, when you spell it all out like that, yeah, it's a little.
Well, listen, I think it started out as a mom and pop shop, right? With me being both mom and pop. And like I've kept it that way for many reasons. It's enough. We're done with that. Okay. It's time to take this and make this real and hopefully just produce more and better content for the people who've been following us and not lose our voice and sort of the way we come across. Like that's important that we stick with that, but it's time to make this bigger and better. And so that's the housekeeping note. We'll I'm sure you guys will sort of see things as we move forward, but we'll leave it at that for now. So let's head on to point number 2, which is the US men's national team. Okay. Well, interesting week here. This is sort of all in preparation for Copa America, which gets started next week. We had 2 friendlies over the course of the last few days. We played Colombia on Friday, and we got our asses handed to us. Lost 5-1. Now that scoreline might not have been completely indicative of the game. They scored 3 really late goals against sort of our subs, but still, that one hurt. Then we followed it up today on Tuesday with today's Wednesday. Never mind that. We followed up on Wednesday with a 1-1 draw against Big Bad Brazil. Not so bad. So I don't know, Tyler. What do you want to? I'll let you start it off here. You want to go quickly through the 2 games, or you want to sort of cover it more holistically?
A combination of the 2. I mean, really quickly on Saturday, like, yes, I agree. The scoreline wasn't necessarily indicative of how the majority of the game was played, but like, honestly, who gives a fuck about that? We lost 5-1. Somebody put a 5 spot up on us on American soil.
Yeah, at home.
That's important. I don't care if it's Colombia, who's on a 20-match unbeaten streak. Like we don't get 5 spots put up on us if we want to be the powerhouse that we intend to be at some point in time, and especially heading into 26. But and this game tonight desperately called for a reaction immediately, and we got one. And I'll raise my hand and be the first one to say that, like, I was almost going into this game rooting for a disaster or rooting for something similar so that change can just start to happen and that those wheels can get in motion. But doggone it, Greg said something, and like, I'm chilling in my apartment, clapping, I'm yelling at Matt Turner. I was like, that game genuinely put a smile on my face. We went toe-to-toe, tete-a-tete with Brazil. With motherfucking Brazil, and like opened up the game, did things that I've never seen this team do before. Tim Ream, like Tommy said something amazing in the group chat, said that he like must have taken an edible because this man could not be bothered. Like Vinny breathing down his neck, he's doing Cruyff turns in his own 18, like he's fucking Virgil van Dijk. But like, this was incredible. This is the standard. This is the way. Like this gets me so fucking fired up for Copa. And here's the expectation now. How about this? We go into it and say, like, why can't we win it?
Yeah.
Stay with me here. You get out of your group. It's only 8 teams that move on to the knockout round. You win 3 games. You advance in 3 games. Maybe 2 are in penalties and you win the other one 1-0 off some bullshit. But with the way that we just played, why can't that be the expectation? If we fall short and we lose in a semifinal, great, dust our hands of it. It's a job well done, and we move on. And Greg keeps his job, which is probably going to piss a lot of people off. But like for me, that was the most fun I've had watching an American team play a top 20 side, maybe in my lifetime. Outside of the Belgian game in the World Cup and beating the Netherlands 4-3 in Johan Cruyff Arena, this is right up there. It's our second result against Brazil in 20 tries ever. We've never drawn them before. We've beaten them once, and that's when Preki scored. Yeah, fucking Preki is an assistant coach in Major League Soccer. You probably don't even know who he is. He's up there though. He's a GOAT as far as U.S. men's national team is concerned. But like this was an awesome performance, and I just hope that we can try to replicate this in some way, shape, or form. It was so much fun to watch. Like, and there were mistakes, but like at least we went after the game and we looked different. Joe Scally was getting forward like his life depended on it. Like we looked like a different side. That was the best I've seen us play from the course of 90 minutes. Matt Turner making saves out of his ass, like, and you're gonna need him. You need a goalkeeper who's in form. We didn't know if he was. He apparently is. So, wow. All right, I talked a lot. Sorry.
Listen, you got me hyped. I was already kind of excited. I enjoyed watching the Brazil game. You got me a little even more hyped. But I'll feel bad about this, but I'm put a little dampener on it because I was going to anyway, right? And say that the Colombia game was a friendly, and I didn't take that much away from it, apart from the fact that you can't lose 5-1 on home soil, even if they had essentially a home field advantage on us with more fans there. But regardless, you can't lose a game like that. But just no matter what happened with Brazil, I was going to say the same thing. We can't take that much away from a friendly, even against a team that good. And we looked, like we belonged and deserved to be there. You can't take that much away. The Brazil wasn't out there they weren't laying their lives on the line.
But hold on a second. That Brazil side is what they've looked like recently. That is who they are. They barely beat Mexico. They were about to draw Mexico too. And Mexico, as we know, is ass, like beyond ass. So that's who Brazil is right now. They're brittle at the back. They're not pressing as a unit. Like it was literally 1 or 2 passes to break the first line of pressure every time. They are not him at the moment. They could still win Copa America, but like they are not. There's not a switch that they can flip from a defensive and from a pressure standpoint that I think that you might be referring to. Like I don't think that that's who they are right now.
Yeah, they might not have that next level. They still have the individual talents, though. You're like, wow, this team is ridiculous. If you want a hot take, Colombia looked like the better team than
they look like the better cohesive team.
Yes, the better team than Brazil. Okay, so Mitch, go ahead.
So I'll say to your point about it being a friendly, I put more stake personally in the 11s that are put out there as opposed to the title of the game. The fact that it is a friendly doesn't necessarily mean it doesn't have stakes. When both sides are starting their best or close to their best 11, that's kind of what I'm looking at in terms of like who's trying to go win this game, which team is trying to get what out of it. And it was very clear that both Colombia and Brazil were trying to win this game, and so were we on both occasions. The Colombia game, like you said, I actually don't need to say anything more about that. But this Brazil game, I echo everything Tyler said. I was hyped the fuck up. It reminded me of that old newspaper headline that says USA wins 1-1.
Yeah.
Like it was that type of like, oh wow, that type of moral victory that I usually don't subscribe to, that I'm usually not crazy about like taking happiness away from a draw. But man, this was a performance. This was a team performance. I loved the way, Turner, I don't think he needed to, but I think he pulled away in the number 1 conversation now. I think he was, pretty clearly our number 1, but he stood on his head today, and I was super happy with how he played. I thought we didn't need to say anything more about timeless Tim Ream. God, the man is just aging like fine wine. I thought Johnny Cardoso gave good minutes when he was in there. I was really happy with the effort and the energy that everybody played with. I thought Greg subbed a hell of a lot better this game as well. I thought he made he just set the team up better for success. And I realized at the end of that Colombia game, the coaching staff put their hand up and say, "Hey guys, we didn't set you up for success this game. That's on us." And that's a good thing because it caused them and it caused the players to make adjustments for this one, and you could see those adjustments, and they're very exciting. I have a lot of hope going into Copa America now. When 24 hours ago, I did not.
You weren't the only one. You should have seen the pre-game comments on Instagram. It was all like, Greg out, Horvath should be starting, all the, Tim Ream, we got a 40-year-old playing, like all the comments, which were, frankly, at least some of them, I understood, they've all proved to be wrong-headed, at least in this instance. Now, what does it say though, that the two games that stand out to me as sort of the best performances under Berhalter were a draw against England and a draw against Brazil?
See, but the draw against England, though, I feel like was pretty ugly, and like England was playing in an ugly game. And I don't like, just as blanket statement, we did not have a good World Cup. We drew a bad Wales team. We drew a good England side, but like in just kind of disgusting and like nauseating fashion. And then we barely beat Iran, and they probably should have scored as well. And then we got our doors blown off by the Netherlands. That wasn't a good World Cup. I don't know. I mean, so I have to go on Sirius tomorrow as we're recording this Wednesday, and like I was trying to think of like things that I was going to say in terms of like, obviously I have to do it in a different manner than I do it on this podcast, but like we put so much emphasis on Greg and for not getting the players ready, but at some point, because these players haven't proved it until this point, I was like, maybe we just don't have the horses. Maybe we just aren't a good team. That it doesn't matter who the coach is outside of maybe Pep and Jurgen. Like, I was getting ready to sort of say that because they haven't proven that they could do that up until now.
Yeah.
Like that. In terms of not laying over, not barely squeaking by, USA beat somebody 1-1 because they like held on by the skin of their teeth. No, that was a proper game of football that like the US easily could have won and took it to Brazil when they had the opportunity. So like, again, that's the standard. The England result, like, again, tournament football is also different. And like, yes, the friendly vibe versus tournament vibe is going to be different. But like, I don't know. For me, like that's what it needs to look like. And that's a proof of concept game that like, I think that this group has been desperate for since we won our first big trophy back in what was it? 2020, 2021, the Nations League. I think the Nations League final when we beat Mexico, Pulisic on the penalty. Like we've been looking for something other than a Mexico win to hang our hat on. And this was it.
Brazil draw.
This will keep a Brazil draw, but this will ensure that Greg keeps his job until the World Cup.
Result aside,
Ooh, really?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We crash out in the group stage of Copa.
We won't after that. We won't.
Okay, you're saying based on that performance, we won't.
Yes,
okay.
I see what you're saying, but I don't see us not picking up maximum points against either Bolivia or Panama. Like,
yeah, I was going to go through the games quickly, but Mitch, you had something to say.
I forget. No. This game, score aside, result aside, the way it was played, the manner in which we went out there and conducted ourselves for 90 minutes, that's the standard. Like that's where like our energy should be towards, and that's where like my mind is at in terms of like what can this team do. Result aside, like that game when played out in a tournament setting is going to go to extra time. It probably goes to penalties. I don't know. It was pretty open towards the end there, but like it's the style of play that we wanted to play and that we've been searching for in a successful manner, or sorry, in an unsuccessful manner for months now. And now we've seen this product against a top 5 side in the world. And that, like Tyler said, is a proof of concept. It's tangible evidence that the attitude that we all have towards the game and the plan that Greg has, plan in quotes, is working, kind of.
Okay. Listen, I'm with you guys in terms of, being excited based on this game, more excited about what's the future for us, and specifically in this Copa America tournament. My personality is always to be like a moderating influence or be like a devil's advocate. And so that's kind of what I was doing, but I'm excited. I mean, looking forward to.
You don't sound excited. You don't have me convinced. This is some
Yeah, I am. I'm good about bottling up emotions and pretending, I'm just even keeled when I'm not really. But looking forward to the games here. So we start with Bolivia. Bolivia, they stink. This Bolivia team is not a good team. Like, they just lost to Mexico. They're just not a very good team. We should win that game. Yes, they're South American. They're from CONMEBOL, so you can't really sort of write a W down for any team coming out of South America, because they play just tough games, and they're always going to make it hard on you. But we should beat Bolivia at home, like, just period. Then we got Panama. I mean, that goes without saying. That needs to be a win. Uruguay's gonna be tough in our last group stage game. We need points to get out of the group. Something has gone wrong, and obviously we'll deal with that then. But I'm excited. I'm excited about this tournament. I think you're right, Tyler. Listen, we need to focus on winning. Like, that needs to be the goal. Not get out of the group, not make a semifinal. Like, we just drew with Brazil, who is one of the favorites for this tournament. This is on home soil. We should win this, or at least think about that we should win it. Anything else on U.S. men's national team or Copa before we move on?
I'm done with Brendan Aronson.
He's Sam Pham, so I can't talk shit.
He
should have finished it. He should have finished that chance.
Not even the finish. Like, he came on and he was turning the ball over a lot, and he again energized their bunny, but like, it's been a significant downtrend. I hope he can turn it around, but like, this has been since the World Cup, it's been going one direction. It hasn't been going a good direction.
I love that he's going back to Leeds. I hope that he can turn that around and sort of show everybody what he's all about. With another year of experience in the Bundesliga, I really hope that he sort of takes that opportunity and runs with it.
By the way, we need a running list. Part of upgrading our podcast, we need a running list of Sam Pham, so I know not to talk shit about all of them. I don't
listen. Somebody does need to talk shit when it's deserved. It's totally fine. It's totally fine. We're all good at that.
Rich, in case he comes back on the pod, do you agree with me or no?
I do. I think he's a good club player. I don't think in his current form he is earning minutes at the national team level.
All right. Well, hopefully he proves you wrong over the next couple of weeks. All right, let's move on to the Euros. So Euro 2024, this tournament is awesome. Like, I know that there's so many things going on. We got the Copa America coming up. Everybody's focused on U.S. men's national team. The Euros is an amazing tournament. And, I feel like there hasn't been nearly enough sort of love, pub, ink spilled, TV commercials. I haven't seen nearly enough sort of reminding people, get your ass excited, because this is going to be an awesome tournament. It starts on Friday. I believe the first game is Germany, Scotland, from Group A. Scotland back in the big lights. So I'll give you a quick little rundown of there's 6 groups. So 6 groups. I'll give you a quick rundown, and then we're going to give you some predictions in terms of who we like, maybe a dark horse, and then teams that we think are going to crash and burn. So here's the quick rundown. Group A, we got Germany, Switzerland, Hungary, Scotland. Germany, obviously the heavy favorite in that group, but keep in mind, this is a Germany team that is not the Germany team you're thinking of, or that we all think of. They came out off of a 2023 where they were pretty god awful, to be honest. They lost 6 of their 11 games, which including 3 in a row, which for Germany is, obviously no bueno. So this may not be the Germany team you're remembering, but they are on home soil. So they kind of got those two things going against one another. Switzerland, I won't go through team by team, but I'll just leave it at that. Switzerland, Hungary, Scotland, Switzerland, Hungary kind of in the middle. Scotland is obviously a heavy underdog. Group B, this is the group of death. Group B for sure. We got Italy and Spain at the top of the group. Then we got Croatia. Obviously no slouches. You never want to see Croatia in any sort of knockout tournament. And then Albania. Just pray for the Albanians. That's just an absolute brutal draw.
Apparently, this is not a bad Albanian side either. what rumor mill has it.
We shall see. I mean, it'd be incredible if they somehow got out of that group with Italy, Spain, and Croatia. But listen, this is what the Euros is all about. There are no easy games in this tournament. Group C, you'll probably hear a lot about because England is in it. And listen, this England team is stacked. They are the heavy favorite, I believe, overall. But that tends to happen because the British people love to throw some money on the old England team. They got Denmark, Serbia, and Slovenia in this group. So Slovenia actually has some guys, Jan Oblak. They got Benjamin Sesko, which we'll probably hear a lot about over the coming months, whether he stays with RB Leipzig or goes to wherever, Arsenal maybe. We'll see about that. Serbia has a lot of names you guys know, and of course Denmark is, they've sort of been a dark horse for several tournaments in a row without necessarily living up to that. In Group D, France. Mbappe and motivation is what I have written down for them, coming off of the World Cup where they lost in the final. And oh, by the way, they have arguably the best player in the world playing for them. In Group D with France, we got Netherlands. So that'll be a hell of a game. You also got Austria, and this is an Austria team that is sort of in flux a little bit. It's the post-Alaba Austria. Alaba didn't make the squad this year. Led by Ralph Rangnick, by the way. And then you got Poland. Poland may be dead on arrival. They've been hit by some injuries late in the game here, and they just got sort of it's a tough group, and they're missing some big guys. Lewandowski might be out for one or more games, and Swiderski, etc. Group E is Camp Cupcake group. So Belgium is the heavy favorite in that group. They're followed by Ukraine, Romania, and Slovakia. And then Group F, we got Portugal, who is kind of a popular team among people I've seen as a team to win this tournament. And understandably so. If you look at their roster, they are stacked. They got both experience and young guys. But they also have Roberto Martinez. So yeah, it's a question mark. So Group F, we got Portugal, Turkey, Czech Republic, and Georgia. So, Mitchell Goulet, I'll throw it to you first. Maybe let's start with your favorite. Who do you think is going to win this bad boy?
You're one of the only people that uses my full name. It's very strange. I think this is France's tournament to lose. I do not think England are going to succeed under Gareth Southgate. I think France, like you said, have the best player in the world. I am French, of French descent. This is France's tournament. Yeah. So was it first one is favorite? Next one is what? Underperformer, underdog, dark horse.
Let's go around with all favorites, and then we'll go around with.
Okay, all right, yeah, I like France.
France. Okay, Tyler, what are you thinking here?
I like the Germans on home soil. They won't have to play France until the final. And I think that this group sort of has a revitalized feel to it. And I think that they look a bit more German over the past few games and from what I've seen, right? Like a little bit more discipline, a little bit more laser focused than what we've seen, before Julian Nagelsmann took over those, couple of games that he started. And I think playing on home soil, Toni Kroos, final tournament. I just think that stars are aligning for them to be a team of destiny.
You think Kroos is really going to have a hell of a send off, huh? Champions League and a Euros Cup.
Yeah, wow. That would be that'd be a hell of a way to go off.
But like, what has everybody said about him from the moment that he was running around at Bayern? Like, dude's a winner. He wins everywhere he goes. Like, and the perfect way for a winner to finish his career is just to win everything one more time.
Not to derail this, but we're going to have, 10, 15 years down the line, when people look back at Toni Kroos's career achievements, we're going to have some conversations about the hardware that he's won and how
where he stacks up.
Yeah, and just where he stacks up. I'm not saying this right now, but there's going to be some uncomfortable conversations to be had.
You're putting a placeholder for when we get to it in 2039.
I'm earmarking this later. Yeah.
Listen, I don't mind Germany. I don't mind your Germany shout there, Tyler. I know they did come off a really tough run of form there, but ever since Nagelsmann's come
That was
on,
before Nagelsmann took over.
yeah, they've looked different. They've got, not just Kroos, but the rest of their sort of mid, Musiala and Wirtz playmakers. Like that is a combination right there. They just beat France, they just beat Netherlands, so I almost feel like it's a new Germany, and sort of the people who are focusing on that tough run of form might be in for a surprise, especially on home soil. So I don't mind that shout. I'm not going with Germany. I'm also not going with Spain or Italy. This just feels like a group where they're just going to bang each other around. They might not both get out of that group. In fact, I hate that Mitch said France, because that's where I'm going to. I just think that coming off the World Cup, the way they looked in that tournament, they came up against a historical buzzsaw in Messi, but like Messi's not in this tournament, and they looked so good. They were so stacked. You could basically say Germany is on home soil for France. They've gone back and traded the Alsace-Lorraine and part of the other, the rest of the country. They've been trading off geographies for freaking millennia here. Okay. I've been reading up on this for a while here. Okay. So
it's a bold statement right after the 80th anniversary of D-Day, but
it is. Yeah. Well, listen,
that's Tyler Terrence, the political commentator, coming up.
You just stick to the UN correspondent, not historical diplomacy. Listen, I'm not talking about World War I or World War II. I'm talking about Germanic tribes in Napoleon and these sorts of way back in the day. They've been trading off their friggin' territory for eons. I just came up with that off the cuff and might be absolutely wrong. So apologies to our actual smart people out there. But I do think that France is just the best team. I'm not buying in on Portugal. I know a lot of people seem to buy, high on them. If there's, I think there's 4 teams, right? It's Portugal, England, Germany, and France. Those are the 4 that I think are legitimate contenders to win this thing. England's just got the mental midgetry that until they win something, I just can't buy it.
You don't count them as a legitimate contender?
I do. I just don't think they're going to win it. I don't think they're going to win it because of the mental midgetry. Also, Southgate, like nobody has any faith in him. I don't know if he's nearly as bad as people sort of at least in the media and on Twitter, how much they hate him. But listen, until England wins something, I gave them a little bit of credit. I think last Euros I picked them and they shit the bed. Granted, they didn't shit the bed. They made the final and lost to Italy in penalties, so that was a good run. I just until they win it, I'm not on board with them. And Portugal, listen, Roberto Martinez. They got 2 big question marks from Portugal: Roberto Martinez, and whether Ronnie can really accept being a role player. I don't know if he can. We'll see on that. I mean, he just had an incredible goal, by the way, against Ireland. But never mind that. He's 39 years old, and I don't think he's going to be able to do it, game after game for however many it takes to win the Euro. 7 games, 6 games, whatever it is. I don't see that happening. So whether he can play nice with that, not sure. And Roberto Martinez, not sure. Too many question marks. So I'm going France. No question marks there. They're just too damn talented. They're motivated. They got Mbappe. I'm on board. I'm on board with France. Okay, move on. Dark horses. Mitchell, who you got?
It's not really a dark horse. If it's Spain, is it?
That's like the first team in pot number 2 as far as odds are concerned. I wouldn't call that a dark horse. It's something that's closer to Morocco on the spectrum.
Got you.
He's thinking hard.
Go to Tyler.
Austria.
Really?
Austria. I think that, and this is going to go hand in hand with who I think is going to flame out. Watch for the French to struggle to get out of Let me explain something.
Please.
I think Austria is going to pick up points against either France or the Netherlands. France is on this obscene run right now. They just are coming off of a 0-0 draw against Canada, where they put out a pretty darn close to full-blown starting 11. Again, I'm not going to try to take too much away from it, but we've all seen this show before. You can be really good for 2 cycles, being really good for 3 cycles is almost unheard of. The reign eventually comes to an end. And I'm not saying that France are going to fall off the map and not qualify for a World Cup. But what I am saying is that, like, this is a tournament. You take teams lightly. They have now been to 3 major tournaments and done extremely well in all of them with this group. Almost won 2 World Cups. They might be caught napping. Now, the Netherlands is probably going to be the team that ends up on the outs if my prediction does come true with Austria. But they're a really good team. They like have a specific style, which I think is very rare in international soccer. I mean, it's Red Bull, it's Salzburg, it's Ragnick, it's like very high pressing. And in tournament style football, like you don't want any of that shit. Like you just want to keep the ball. You want to try to, grind out results. You don't want people running down your throat like that. And I think that they're young enough and well coached enough to the point where they might shock somebody, and it could be Le Bleu.
Le Bleu. Okay. Well, so correct me if I'm wrong here, but you just gave us your dark horse and your flame out.
I did.
Okay. 2 birds with 1 stone. Mitch, you ready to go? Or you want me to go?
No. I'm good. I suppose since I can't pick Spain, which is completely fair, I might go with the Swiss, purely based on the group that they have. Because if you take a look at that Group A, Germany, Scotland, Hungary, Switzerland, that group, that second spot is kind of up for grabs. That's not really, it's nobody's favorite, right? Yeah, I like the Swiss. Simple as that.
Big Shaqiri guy.
Oh, love Shaqiri. Love his lack of effort in MLS, but natural talent and insane.
He's kind of their sort of talisman.
Yeah.
That's what you want as your talisman. All right.
He's the poster child. I think everybody else has the work rate.
There were rumors that he wasn't even going to go to this tournament.
I believe it. I bet he showed up yesterday.
No, he went early. No, Frank Klopas, the coach of the Fire, kicked him out of Fire training and sent him to Europe early because he was just like, "You're not focused. You don't want to be here. You're worried about the Euros. Like, go. You don't need to be here anymore."
Well, I mean, great move. And I like Shaqiri even more. I like him to score 4 goals in the group stage. Hell yeah.
Pop quiz. How old do you think Xherdan Shaqiri is?
36.
Tyler?
You should know this. I think he's 32.
He is 32.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I was surprised by that too.
Not the rings on his calves.
Wow. I like that.
Sort of spin zone. He's got a few more.
He runs so poorly and so little for somebody who's 32. Like Tim Ream is more mobile than Shaqiri is.
He's got a little more tread on his tires. He's been saving it for the Euros, apparently. So I've got now this is an interesting one. So my dark horse, I got 2 that I've been sort of going back and forth on. Serbia, who I think could benefit from a relatively doable group. Denmark obviously has some players, but I like this Serbia team. They've got some guys, the Mitroviches and Vlahovic up top, and then you got Milinkovic Savic and Samardzic from Udinese. I like this Serbia team. I also like Hungary, actually. So you were saying that that second spot in Group A is up for grabs. I completely agree with that. I think this Hungary team is better than people sort of realize. Soboslai is kind of their go-to, but they got a solid defense. I like this Hungary team. So I guess I'm going to go with Hungary as my official dark horse, although I kind of like Serbia as well. And I was also looking at the Czech Republic just because I almost know not much about them, but they're the youngest team. So they might be dumb enough that, they don't understand the size of the situation, and they all play together on the same 2 or 3 teams from the Czech Republic, which could be a nice little advantage. But I'm going to say my dark horse is Hungary. And they're plus 850 to win the group and plus 9,000 to win it all. So we've already gotten a flame out from Tyler. Who you got going, or at least not saying that they're going to flame out, but just saying they should be on alert.
Flame out. Nope. Flame out.
Okay. Straight up flame
it's
out.
The defending champs, Italy.
Ooh.
I think they are going to drop out of the group stage. I think it's going to be a heartbreaker. A what?
Is this I don't think that your picks here are really lining up with the category, because Spain cannot be an underdog and Italy can't be a flameout if they didn't just qualify for the most recent World Cup. I know they're the defending champions, but
I'm with Mitch
They're
on
the
this one.
defending champs,
I-
and if we want to take up the odds, they're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 favorite odds to win the tournament.
Okay.
I'm with Mitch. I think that would be a flame out. If,
That would be a flame.
I haven't busted his balls in a while. I'm sorry, that was unnecessary.
That's fair. No, that's fair. No, but you're right on the Spain thing. But no, I think Italy are in between generations right now. Like you said, they did not qualify for the most recent World Cup, and despite this, this past Euros that they won, I don't think they won it in convincing fashion, and I'm not convinced by their current or their recent results. So I think Italy flame out of a very tough group.
It is a tough group. So I think that goes for you in that category as well. I'm going to say my flame out is Belgium. I really think that they're a team that like has no chance of winning this tournament.
Who dethrones them in that group, though?
That's the problem. That's the only thing that I don't really love about picking them. So I'm saying that Belgium losing the first knockout game, I'm calling that a flame out. Would you say would that be fair?
Comfortable with that. Yep.
Because
I think they're gonna make a little run.
Ooh, we disagree here. I like it. I like it. I don't like it if
I love Jeremy Doku is playing as a wingback in the most recent game.
Listen, they got guys with a little long in the tooth, and they were long in the tooth like last tournament. And Belgium, I was gonna say they're an absolute flame out.
How old is Vertonghen? Because he's one of their starting backs.
Yeah, he's like my age, and you don't want to know how old I am. He's not my age, but he's upper 30s. 37. Yeah, that makes more sense. This Belgium team, they got lucky in terms of their group draw, getting Ukraine, Romania, and Slovakia like that. They lucked out there. If there was any other group, I would have them out for sure in the group stage. They might find their way through this. I could see them, falling out of the group stage. I think Ukraine and Romania are probably a little underrated. Ukraine has, the feel-good factor going for them. I just don't like Belgium in this tournament. I would not be putting money on them. I probably wouldn't put money on Portugal either, for the reasons I sort of got into earlier. There we go. So there's our favorite. There's our dark horse and our flame out. We will obviously get more into this as the tournament goes on, but we'll leave it there for now. Keep it nice and, relatively short. And we'll close as we always do with stoppage time. And we're going to skip the best bets. We're going to go straight to the good stuff, the Goas. Everybody's favorite segment. Got to hit the Goas. Wouldn't be an episode without it. So, Mitchell, looks like you're ready to go with that. What you got?
I have some Goas that are so near and dear to my heart and so on brand for me that you're gonna think I made it up. It's Jaylen Brown, who is an Arsenal fan, and Urian Timber, who is a Celtics fan. It's incredible that two of my favorite players on my favorite teams are fans of the other team when they really have no reason to be, apart from, brand deals and like the occasional hello. Urian Timber is an actual Boston Celtics fan. He attended a game in the Eastern Conference Finals pretty recently, or maybe it was a final. No, it was game one of the finals, I think. Jaylen Brown and Bukayo Saka share like brand deals and numbers as well. And they did like a jersey exchange the other day. It's so beautiful and poetic to me that my two teams are fans of one another. And I think now that the Boston Celtics are up 3-0, I think that means good things for Arsenal coming up. So all of my team, and Tom Brady was inducted into the Football Hall of Fame today. So all of my teams are my Goa this week.
that was so masturbatory. I gotta respect it.
If I can gloat, I'll gloat.
Okay, Tyler, who you got for Goas this week?
That makes me so fucking nauseous. Do you understand that I have not been alive to see one of my teams win a championship? Forget being conscious. And this man just said, all my teams are doing so well. My franchise quarterback just got inducted. Literally fucking.
Keep in mind, one of them's Arsenal. So let's pump the brakes on, all this.
No, but the Celtics, I just watched the Celtics win game 3 on the road.
They're winning it for sure.
You guys can come to the parade with me if you want. It's a great time. I've been to many of them.
He knows exactly where to
I
stand.
don't like going to those. They're overrated. My Goa is Servini Jr. For the recent verdict on the racist fans from the game against Valencia a little while back. La Liga basically saying that racism is normal and they wanted higher powers to take care of it. And it was the first ever sentencing for racial discrimination and racial comments in Spanish history. The fans were sentenced to 8 months in prison, 2-year ban from the stadiums. And Vinny said he's an executioner of racists, which I think is fucking badass.
That's a bar. That's a fucking bar. I'm not a victim of racism. I'm a tormentor of racists. That's a bar.
Hard. Also, how did he grow his hair out? There are some cultural things that I'm going to need to learn here. He looks like, you know, his hair. How did he go for it? Because the Champions League final a couple of weeks ago, he didn't have that. And I'm no scientist.
Yeah, you know, that might have been not real.
Are they? No, it's like they're extensions of some sort.
Yeah,
right. Like,
yeah, it has to be because you're right. He had his.
I literally thought because Camavinga has the same style, and I literally thought he was running around for the Brazilian national team. I was like, that doesn't look.
He's giving a shout out to Camavinga. Yes, okay, good shout out with Vinny. An assist on that topic. I heard that the Brazilian government actually was getting seriously involved in basically pushing the Spanish government to actually do something about that. This is just sort of what I heard from my diplomatic channels. Don't worry about it. But yeah, so it's good. I mean, listen, we've been talking about Spain, and listen, Italy shouldn't get off the hook as well. These countries have just been far too laissez-faire about this stuff for many years. So it is good that finally something is coming of it, and shout out to Vinny for helping facilitate that. My go is this week will be number one, a couple honorable mentions. Number one, Joe Mazzulla. He went off on like a tangent like yesterday or the day before.
What? Why do we keep talking about Boston Celtics? Like it's not that cool, not that important.
I know. I didn't actually mean to do this and give Mitch more fucking glazing. But listen, he went off on, you know, this talk about, you know, the parallels between Jason Tatum and Vinny and the pressure Vinny Jr. and the pressure they're under and all this stuff. I mean, it just sort of sounded like he follows soccer. He's a legitimate sort of soccer fan. So I was impressed by that. I'm going to give another honorable mention to. Oh, actually, Mitch, you looks like you want to add something.
Well, yeah, you saw Pep was sitting courtside for one of the games and is visiting Joe. This is the second time now that they've kind of had a meeting of the minds. They're both sickos. I think Joe's a genuine fan of the game. He's a weirdo, but I think he loves the game.
We're all weirdos in our own way. So Joe Mazzulla gets an honorable mention. Also, honorable mention, Newtown Pride. So every, you know, soccer league, every soccer tournament, you need a villain. And Newtown, they lived up to that and some this week. They were getting booed for their style of play at TST. And they just basically, without actually throwing the middle finger at everybody, they basically threw the middle finger at everybody. They played a very slow down style, hang on to the ball. Obviously, TST has some very specific rules and sort of some nuances that not everybody understands and all that stuff. They were just playing within the rules. And I agree, it was not great to watch. And and I know TST is probably going to have to do something about that because, you know, you don't think so?
I heard that they're changing. I heard that they're going to change the rule next year.
They have to.
I was talking to Tim Coughlin about it. He said that there was rumors about it.
I have a take on this, and I've swayed people with this take. They are the only team that can afford to play that style that they do. And Tyler, I don't know if you watch the games, and people that are listening, I don't know if you watched any Newtown Pride games, but they will spread the field out as wide as they physically can. They'll sit with the ball at their keeper's feet, and they will wait until you press them. And then they will play out of the back, and they will score on you. They will not concede. They will hold the ball for as long as they can, and they'll score on you. And they'll get boos raining down from the crowd this entire time because they're literally standing still. They're making very small runs and standing still. Why I don't think they should change the game or change the rule next year is because you are deliberately handicapping one team. If there was an actual rule change that needed to be made, there would be several teams playing that style. That's one team playing that style. the only team that is skilled enough and organized enough to do that. And you're going to handicap them because they won it the first year and made the semifinal the second year. You're going to say, that's boring for me. I don't like it. No, no. The rest of the tournament is fun, fast, end-to-end seven-a-side soccer. These guys, you invite teams there with the promise that they're going to win $1 million. These guys go out and try to give themselves the best chance to win $1 million. And you're like, you're not doing it that way. No, no, I don't fuck with that. I love the way Newtown Pride play. I love the fact that they do not care that they're being booed. I love that they play their style, and they're the only team at the tournament that can afford to do it. So I really hope they don't change the rule next year.
I still think they're going to change the rule, but because TST is about one thing and one thing only, and that's entertainment. And the entertainment value of those games were not great. I'm not shitting on Newtown. They are good, and they're like, we played them last year. They are good. They are organized. They came back and did it again this year. They sort of double stamped it. Like they validated how good they are, especially in this format. They are tough to play against. But I still think TST is probably going to change it. And I still think that they deserve an honorable mention for just basically giving everybody the middle finger and saying, this is how we're going to fucking play. So shout out Newtown Pride. I'm going to give my go this week, though, to Matthew Jebediah Turner, who has had a tough, go of it lately. He's not getting any run with Nottingham Forest, and just showed up against Brazil after having a game against Colombia, obviously not his best, but also he was getting shelled and defense was not doing him many favors. He showed up against Brazil and stood on his head. He had a great game. Yes, there was the pass that was sort of a looping pass that sort of led to the goal. But man, he saved our bacon on numerous occasions. And as you said earlier, Mitch, I think he pretty much solidified the fact that he is GK1. And so all this sort of blabber about, should we be playing somebody else? No. Matthew Jebediah Turner is our goalkeeper. Everybody focus on something else to complain about. And there we go. That's this week's podcast. Again, I've actually said this numerous times over the course of months and everything. Mitch, Mikey, Tyler, Tommy, like these guys, I honestly appreciate these guys so much. They put so much time and effort into this podcast over the years. It's time we turn this podcast into what it should be. So thank you guys, from the bottom of my heart. Also, thank everybody who is listening. You guys are the reason we're doing this. So hopefully you stick with us. And your assignment, tell one friend this week. And we'll be back soon. Next week at some point, we'll work with our schedule and all that stuff. We'll be back bigger, better, faster, stronger. Can't wait to see you and talk to you guys then. Let's go US.